afternoon and welcome to the WorldSkills live and we're back. Good afternoon and welcome to the WorldSkills UK live from live show here at the NEC in Birmingham, and what an atmosphere we've had already this morning. So many people gracing the show floor, and throughout the next 3 days we are hoping to expect over 80,000 people to come here and see what's on offer, and it is easy to see why. This is a free to attend event, first of all, but secondly, and most importantly, if you are a young adult or a student and you are looking for your next big step towards your dream career, or if indeed you don't know what your dream career could look like, then this really is a hub of inspiration. Now, it's not just potential employees that can come here. This is a must-attend event for some of the UK's major employers, educators and organisations. And among them we have BAE Systems, Toyota Manufacturing UK, the NHS and Lloyds Banking Group, and they are all here looking for the next generation of high flyers, and who knows, it could be you. And if that's not enough, we also have the real event showstopper, and I'm talking about the WorldSkills UK National Finals. 500 of the UK's most talented students and apprentices battling it out here at the NEC. We've got everything here for you in the live studio, and we'll be coming to you at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow and 2:30 p.m. as well. So don't worry, we've got you covered. I'm here in the studio, and Peter Bakari, who is our children's health educator and motivational speaker, and our Team GB Olympian, no less. It's a good job he's fighting fit, because he will be here, there and everywhere on the show floor sampling what's on offer. Now, we really want you to have your say too, and we do encourage it. So any comments or questions you might have, just use the hashtag WSUKLive to get in on the action. Now, this afternoon, we're going to be focusing on the technology and engineering sectors, and I have two lovely guests in the studio with me, so thank you for joining me. We have Lauren Mystery here of Youth Employment UK, and we also have Major Glenn Lishman of the Royal Engineers, so welcome to you both. Let's just kick things off, first of all, with an overview of the technology and engineering sectors in the UK in terms of careers. What's on offer out there?
Engineering and technology, the sector itself is varied and hugely exciting. There are so many different opportunities, so it's good that you asked for an overview, because we'd spend the whole hour going into each and every different type of engineering and technology role available. Before 2024, there will be over 4.8 million job opportunities that cover just engineering alone. That's about 20% of all vacancies that will be available will be engineering focused, which is really exciting, but what they will cover will be a number of different things. There are huge growth areas in transport engineering, and that's everything from people that will design train carriages. I'd like to say for comfort that majority of the time is to fit more of us on and to go faster and be a little bit better for the environment, to the people kind of making the tracks, making systems run faster and being able to communicate with each other, as well as huge opportunities across energy, steam, gas, electricity opportunities, and information as well. 5G is here and coming, but we won't stop there. The technology sector will grow. We demand things faster, better, cleaner than we've ever done before. So the opportunities are endless. Some of my favourite types of engineering include robotics, cryogenics engineers, but also those things you might not think of that allow you to be really creative with that as well. So those people that are designing things from our mobile phones in our pockets to the trains that we travelled up to Birmingham today, as well as the seats we sit on. So there's such a huge variety of different roles available. There is so much.
Yes. That's amazing, and it's just, it's people knowing what's on offer. That's a big hurdle, isn't it? Because okay, you've got the umbrella of engineering, but there is so much within that. So I guess my next question really is, how would young people find out about all the different opportunities that are available to them?
With there being so many different types of opportunities, it is a common sort of problem and issue that we hear. It's hard to know. If you put in engineering into Google, it's going to come up with millions and millions of different search options for you. Yeah, you will crash the internet. But there are a number of different places you can go to. If you know that you're interested in engineering, places like Engineering UK are great, National Career Service, our own website, Youth Employment UK, gives impartial information and advice about every different sector. But if you then do know you're interested in engineering, you can go and explore that further as well.
Brilliant, and I'm sure there's lots of apprenticeships available, and that's obviously what the fair is about, showing you how you can get into those sectors and into those industries. And we had Peter Bakari out on the floor earlier this morning to talk to one of these very apprentices, and they were from BAE Systems, so let's take a look.
We are now here at BAE Systems, and they are industry partner to WorldSkills UK Live, and we want to find out all about what they do, because trust me, it is intricate, it is precise, and it is important. Here we have Richard. He's going to tell us a little bit more. Hi Richard, how are you doing?
Delighted to be here, thank you.
So, can you tell me all about BAE and what do you do?
BAE Systems are an integral part of our security here in the UK and indeed globally. So we make, design, manufacture complex nuclear submarines for the Navy, fighter jets for the Royal Air Force, and we also do land vehicles and whatever. And in addition, we also work in the security sector, providing sort of complex software to protect and safeguard our national assets. But an example, so for example, in the maritime space, we may, as I mentioned, nuclear submarines. So both in terms of hunter killers to protect, support our fleet ships, our merchant navy in a kind of, but also our nuclear deterrent. So existing the Trident, but the replacement to that. And the challenges for us is nuclear submarine operates in the depths of the Atlantic, which is as challenging or a dangerous environment as in space. In fact, you can't take a submariner outside the shell or the hull of a nuclear submarine because the pressures are so enormous and complex. So we've got to make sure that they're safe and operate as secure as the UK.
Wow. So, what is it like then, I guess, to get involved with BAE? What would I need to do if I was at home wanting to get involved?
There are lots of things that you can do in terms of getting involved in apprenticeships with the company. We have over 2,000 apprentices in training, a record number, and we'll be growing to over 2,300 by September next year. So go to visit our website, basystems.com/apprentices. You'll find out a lot more about programs, level 2, level 7, so for literally to sort of GCSE up to master's level opportunities with the company.
Oh, wow, and that is incredible. So I would go to the website and I found out a lot more about it. All right. Thank you, Richard. And good luck with the submarine. Thank you. Now we're going to head over to see a little bit more of the apprentices in action. So here they have 3 satellites, well 4, and they're trying to work out the coordinates of how things work out with BAE Systems. I'm trying to tell them all about this, but I'm struggling. Can you tell me a little bit more? By the way, this is Perry, an apprentice for BAE Systems.
Hello, so in this activity what we're doing is we're providing students with original values of the distance. So in this case there's a black line, and that is the unit of measurement that we're using. And these lines here, as you can see, you might be able to see there are little black lines here, which is equivalent of the distance there. And we basically provide the distance from satellite C, B and A. And we say, okay, so for example, this is 12 units, that's 17, that's 17, and then we let them choose a location. So we're going to move up towards Telford, and it's their job to try and guesstimate, what the unit of
So these are kind of things that you'll do being an apprentice. And how's it for you? What has it been like being an apprentice so far?
Yeah, it's been very challenging. It's been great, engaging. So as an apprentice, there's a general stereotype that you kind of just help out, you're on the sideline and stuff like that.
No way, no.
No, it's not the case whatsoever. Like in my job role, I'm a very dedicated employee, and I do a lot of the work. I'm very in the team, and they rely on me a lot. And I use this sort of mathematics in this, not necessarily this specific one, like this is trilateration, but I use like triangulation and stuff like that. There's always a lot of maths involved, a lot of brain power.
So is it fair to say that you're a genius?
I wouldn't say genius, no.
I would. I like that. Oh, Perry, thank you so much. And lastly, to people out there, if they wanted to become an apprentice with BAE Systems, what piece of advice would you give them?
Be passionate about what you enjoy and apprenticeships in general. It's the way forward, mainly because there's companies out there that are willing to support you in furthering your education. And they're willing to, if they're willing to fund you, they're willing to encourage you and provide you a good career path. Go for it. Why wouldn't you? So yeah, go just. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. I appreciate that, and good luck with everything else. And now back to you, Gemma, at the studio.
So go for it, Perry was saying, and he also mentioned how the apprenticeship is incredibly challenging. But I mean, that's no bad thing, is it? It's good to be challenged during an apprenticeship. It's not something that you should be nervous or overwhelmed by, would you say? It's part of the learning process?
Absolutely, and I can't think of a single job that you could do where you wouldn't be challenged every day too. I think that The challenge, I think maybe if we change challenge to exciting, I think that's probably what I would do.
Nicely done, nicely done.
And I think it should be challenging because if it was too easy, everyone would do it and probably take a little bit of the gloss over it.
Absolutely.
But everyone could do it. You know, everyone's got the opportunity to do it, and I'm sure that they're more than capable of doing absolutely anything that's around here today.
Absolutely, and I think probably within the apprenticeship environment, the challenges are within a set structure. So actually, you do have support from the organisation that you work for, and then depending how the apprenticeship sort of set up, you'll also have your own personal support person that will work with you in terms of the education sense, making sure that you're getting enough out of it as well.
You're supported the whole way through.
Yes, you're not dropped in the middle. Your challenge is kind of structured, so there's support around you to help work it out as well.
So let's talk about getting into the apprenticeships or getting into the engineering sector. What are the entry requirements?
I think in general, and it will differ depending on the sector and industry that you go into. If you were looking at starting an apprenticeship, you'd need 5 good GCSEs and kind of a BTEC or A-level equivalent or A-levels themselves to enter the industry. In terms of perhaps certain subjects, again it would depend on the sector you were going into. Maths and science, like most sectors, are important. You don't need to be, the top star grade in that, but you will use it a lot in your engineering, so it's good that you have an interest and kind of a passion in those subjects.
Okay, and Major Glenn, Head of Recruiting for the Royal Engineers, we've talked about entry requirements, but what about skills, raw, rough and ready skills? What people need to have within them? Well,
depending on what sort of apprenticeship you go with. If it's a hand-eye coordination type apprenticeship, then obviously you need the basics to be able to do that. We find it difficult because not only do we need individuals, young people coming into our industry with the requisite skills, they've also got to be willing to put a uniform on and perhaps go to parts of the world that you may not want to go on holiday. So we have that challenge as well as everything else that's happening in industry as well, which it's a challenge that we're more than happy to take on, and but we do find it challenging.
Challenge is good. It's all about challenge, pushing your boundaries. Talking about pushing your boundaries, Peter has been doing exactly that throughout the morning and this afternoon. Let's see where he is now.
And we are now back at the world-class Engineers Toyota. And we're here joined with John. He's going to tell us a little bit more about Toyota and what it takes to get into the industry. Hi John, how you doing?
I'm very good, Peter. Yourself?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is Toyota and what do they do?
Toyota make cars around the world, 50 odd countries, plants all over the world. We make cars in the place we sell the cars. Here we're trying to actually engage the local public in engineering as a career choice. So they can be used in manufacturing engineering, production engineering, all different types. And it just gives them a snapshot of what we do, but also what other companies in the area do as well.
And when you say types, I mean, there's engineering, but there's different types. So what kind of opportunities are there actually in the industry?
In our industry at the moment, we have one side of our plant has automotive engineering opportunities where they can look at the vehicle side. We have the manufacturing side where we're making the cars. We have mechatronic apprenticeships and also production opportunities where they can actually become an apprenticeship in the production side, making the vehicles online.
I love that. I'm a big fan of cars. Do you think I can actually get into the engineering and see how it works? Have you got an apprentice I can speak to?
Yeah, let me lead you this way. You can see the things you walk around and I'll guide you to Harvey, who's one of our apprentices online at the moment.
Awesome. So we're going to go join Harvey, who's an apprentice for Toyota. Wow. How you doing, guys?
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Sorry, what's your name?
Harvey.
Harvey, how you doing? Pleasure.
Thank you.
And what's your name? Aaron. Pleasure. So Harvey, how long have you been an apprentice?
This is my second year of the apprenticeship. Started September last year.
And how have you enjoyed it so far?
Loved it. It's everything you could ask for engineering. You become the jack of all trades. It's brilliant.
So what was the thing that got you into it?
The idea of you have bits of everything in there. You're not specialising in electronics or mechanics. You do everything. It's brilliant.
So do you need any type of certain skill to be?
No, you don't need a specific skill set. Everything is taught to you. I'd just say have an interest in engineering. Make it so it's something you'll enjoy. Because at the end of the day, you're doing it as a life job.
I love that. He really is true. I mean, if you've got a passion for engineering or any sort to do with mechanics, is this the place to be?
100%.
You knew you was going to say that though, innit?
Yeah, it is.
Do you think I'm going to have a go at, what is this? Explain to me.
This is our eco generator. It's kind of to display how much energy is required to power everyday situations. So you've got two pieces of equipment here, just motors inside, but generators, they're the same as you'll learn on the course. You spin them as fast as you can. You've got a 30-second timer here. You can go up against someone, so we've got Aaron here, and then it's just whoever can get the highest score. Okay. So just for reference, if you hit 500 on here, it's about enough energy to power a TV for 2 minutes.
Wow.
It goes to show how much energy is really required.
Okay, so I'm going to try and power up the whole UK live right now. So let me have a go.
Yeah. So when I press this button, you'll see that countdown from 3, and then you're just ready to go.
Okay. Well, since I don't want you to see my actual score, I'll see you guys back in the studio. See you later, guys. Oh, no, you don't.
Well, competition, what can I say? He's a very competitive guy, being a former Olympian. So let's talk a little bit about competition, and especially within the engineering sector. Is it tough to get into, and is it a highly competitive industry, would you say?
I think overall, the industry, and when you do look online, you'll see there are quite a lot of skill shortages. Big companies, they can be competitive, and they can ask for kind of different grade requirements if they do have a lot of applicants. But actually, the engineering sector is so vast that what I would say, if you are struggling, is to look at the supply chain of organisations as well. Some of the largest organisations, you might know the big brands, but actually there will be 4, 5, 6, up to 10 other suppliers all looking for kind of engineers to fit in that sector as well.
Okay, and Glenn, as head recruiter for the Royal Engineers, what would you say to that?
It's absolutely anyone. It's open to absolutely anyone. I wouldn't say it's difficult if you want to do it. You have an aspiration to get involved. It is as easy as going online and giving it a go. Whether you've got the prerequisite skill sets to get in, that's a different matter. But that's nothing that's insurmountable, and it's a little bit of a challenge. But it's anyone can do it. I was a young 16-year-old when I decided to take the plunge. Left home at a very early age and went into engineering. I didn't know where it was going to take me, and I've absolutely enjoyed every minute of it.
That's brilliant. And let's also just touch briefly on the Army as well, because you have lots of experience there. So same sort of question really, is it tough to get into, and what are the requirements?
I would say it's not tough, but some people may find it tough, and I think that's the same in any organisation with any job. Obviously the physical aspect is part of it as well, and there's the piece about leaving home for some a very young age. So there are challenges different challenges that you wouldn't necessarily put into going into engineering. But it's absolutely anyone can do it. It just takes just that little, perhaps gentle shove to do it and carry on and just get on with it.
And gentle shove, but also inspiration. And coming to a show like this, it's all around you, and there's so many things to see, especially from an engineering point of view and the Army point of view. Just having a look at what's on offer gives you a little bit of a direction that you could potentially go into, so it's brilliant. And also helping us to see what's on offer, especially if you're watching at home and you can't actually be here. Peter Vicari has been a very busy man, and I believe now he's either at the Armada stand or he's in the North Pole. Let's see.
Hey, and we are now here at Armada. Are you guys doing good? Yeah! Brilliant. Are you enjoying yourself so far? Yeah! Brilliant. I want to see all about Armada and what they do. By the way, I don't know how Santa sits in it all day. All right. So, we're going to speak now to Simon, who's going to tell us all about Armada. Hi, Simon. How you doing?
Hello, Peter. Very well, thank you.
So tell me more. What does Armada do?
We manufacture sheet metal working machinery and supplies such as lasers, press brakes into the industry.
And where does that go from the industry?
They go to all places that make like coffee machines, lockers, cars, anything in that point of view, anything with a bit of flat steel that's folded up and put into place.
So essentially the foundations of practically everything we use? Yes. That's incredible. So why do you offer apprentices then?
Well, we find it's difficulty with the skill shortage of employing many people. So what we do is we prefer to bring people up through the company from very early stages. So we start off the apprentices and then they move away around the company and they go into the different divisions, and they're the best ones we have.
That is incredible, really. So really getting the workforce in the country, getting the skill set upwards. I love it, I love it. So if I was at home and I wanted to get into the industry, what would you say to me?
Well, the best thing to get into this industry for engineering is to come to one of these events, come to the skills, have a look around, see what's around this area, and enjoy yourself.
Why don't we do as Simon said, and look around. I'm going to see one of your apprentices right now. I want to say thank you, Simon. Thank you. Well, I want to go down and see exactly what they do every single day. Sorry, guys, can I come through? Oh, sorry, coming through. Coming through, guys, coming through. Do you mind? Hey there, how's it going? Hi there. So we're now with Ed, who's one of the apprentices at Armada, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what he's doing now and what he does every single day. So what is this?
So today we're making sheet metal planes. So we've got these flat cutouts which we're cutting on the laser machine over there, and we're bending them up to make 3D models, which I'm just in the process of doing now. So I'll just carry on making it.
And obviously this is a much more simple version of what you'll be doing on your day-to-day, right? Yeah. And so what do you do?
So I'm an engineering apprentice at Armada. So we make sheet metal machinery. So we make laser cutters, press brakes, metal bender machines, punches. And my job is in sort of service and breakdown and just make sure everything runs smoothly.
What do you love most about all of this?
About my job or about today or?
You know what? You tell me.
Okay, about my job, it's a great bunch of people to work with. It's a lovely field to work in. And I just love the sort of practical hands-on aspect of it.
Well, you say hands-on. Do you mind if I have a go at this?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so...
if you carry on with the one I've made.
Okay,
here. Yeah. So if I walk you through it, if I get to... Basically what you're going to do is, if you fold these bits down...
Yep, okay.
Okay, so yeah, I'll hold that for you.
So
yeah.
I fold...
Okay.
Oh, wow, it's actually...
So if you fold the whole side down...
Okay, yes.
Okay, and then what you want to do is you want to pull that bit you pulled out there.
Yeah.
You pull that out like that. So if you try that on the other side.
Yeah. And then I go and...
No.
Okay, I'll just leave that there for now, yeah? All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it all. And if you was to give one word of advice for the young people out there that want to get into the industry, what would it be?
Just put yourself out there as much as possible. Just hand in your CVs everywhere and just take an interest in everything and don't rule anything out.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Ed. Hey, and now back to you, Gemma, at the studio.
So they were talking just there about passion, enjoying your work and just getting out there and doing it. And Peter actually asked this question. I'm going to put it to you both as well. Lauren, I know you have a penchant for engineering and you enjoy it. So I was going to ask, what is it that you love most about it? And then the same to you as well, Glenn. What elements of it, excite you? And
I think it's the opportunities that are available that come from it. I think if you're someone that is practical, loves to see things work and how they're designed. I think the great thing about engineering is that it allows you to use creativity to solve problems. It allows you to be practical and to use, to work within kind of structures and rules and parameters. But also there are just so many opportunities that come from it. Today alone, I've hugged a robot. I've seen trains. I've seen how the Marines use sonar technology to, discover all different sorts of things. No narwhals, but all sorts of exciting things available today. So it's just pure opportunities, but also the different range of skills that come into it and that you can learn so much from as well.
Yeah, and you're right, creative. There is a huge creative element to engineering, and sometimes people sort of forget that. So yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Glenn, how about you?
Yeah, the opportunities as well. I've done some fantastic things, as my colleagues have, from a very young age. With us, from a Royal Engineer specific type, coming from that view, we're soldiers first, we're then combat engineers, which is engineering on the battlefield, which isn't perhaps quite as accurate and precise as some of the stuff that's going on here, to our trades as well. We all have a trade. I'm a bricklayer by trade, so we could literally be going from the construction site for a couple of months in the South Atlantic or in the jungles of Kenya or Belize, to blowing things up on the plains in Estonia or Canada or anywhere else in the world, and there are some other places where we visited and done similar things. So absolutely the diversity of it, and that's what's kept me passionate about the whole thing, and I know it is for some of our younger soldiers as well.
Yeah, you can't get more variety than that, can you, really? Let's talk money. So, entry-level salaries, what sort of thing can we expect in the engineering and technology sectors?
In general, particularly from the apprentice side of things, you can expect something between kind of 12 to 18,000 as sort of an intermediate apprentice. But as you're kind of established within the sector, you're looking at around sort of 30 to sort of 52,000 a year full time. Again, differs per sector, and some where skill shortages are might be paying a little bit higher, a bit of a premium for you, but really good salaries, really good training and opportunities that form part of that as well.
So a very good incentive there then. I've got plenty more questions to ask you, but I do believe that we have Peter Bakari, who has now donned a white lab coat, so I'm desperate to see what he's getting up to now. So over to you, Peter.
Oh, welcome guys. We are now here at Forensics, where we're going to catch up to the finer details in life and, well, find out all about them. So, Tanika, tell me about forensics and what does it mean?
So forensic science can be used for a range of different things. It's normally related to crime quite a lot, and we use a range of different scientific techniques to help us analyse what we need to continue a crime case as we need to.
Oh, thank goodness, because I was struggling to really find out exactly how you'd use it because, well, it is important. And you've competed in Kazan. What was that like?
So I competed in Kazan with the lab tech skill. It was the first time it ran, but competing there with WorldSkills UK was the most incredible experience of my life. It really was. It taught me so many different techniques that I actually hadn't thought of before, put me in scenarios that I would never have to really think about before because I'm quite specialised when I work in my job. But in the scenarios they give you, it makes you really think outside the box.
Today is practically the finals, and well, the winners here are going to represent Team UK. You've done that. What do you think they're going through right now?
Oh, I can see there's so much nerves, excitement. They're looking forward to see what's coming next. Like, they're trying to think about how to handle things in the moment. I remember being here a year ago, and I just can't wait to see where it's going to take them next.
That is incredible. I've got one last question. Do you have a bigger coat? No? It looks good, it looks good. Well, back to you, Gemma, at the studio.
It does look good. He looks very professional. Now, we were talking money, and I do want to hear from you on that side of things as well, Glenn. So just fill us in there.
So to begin with, everyone, doesn't matter what strand of the army you go into engineering, construction, chefing, whatever it may be, you start off as a soldier first. So you have to do your soldier basic training. That starts off at around about the 15 to 18,000 pounds mark, and on completion of that basic training, you go on anything upwards from that 15, 16, 17, 18,000 pounds up. And then it really does depend on some of the qualifications, some of the different branches of engineering you go into, or other parts of the army, and then promotion, etc., etc. So once you start, and 2 or 3 years in, you can be earning 24 upwards, and that's just the soldier route. From an officer perspective, after a couple of years, or very early on, you can start at about 30 grand once you've completed your initial training. So, but it's important to sort of revisit that everyone is a soldier first, and then they go on to do their engineering side of things from our perspective.
Okay,
anyway.
so they lay the foundation.
Yeah.
So we've talked the nitty-gritty and we talked money, but I do just want to rewind a second with you, Glenn, and just go back to the essentials of what is the Royal Engineers. What does that encompass?
If you look at it simplistically, we're the construction wing of defence. No other, the Navy or the Air Force have a construction type wing. We are able to go into a greenfield site and basically build a 2-storey building with all the trimmings from the foundations, or I should start with the surveyors, the setting out, the draftsmen, the design cells, the bricks, the blockwork, the roofers, the roofing, and then everything that you would expect in a house: the electricity, the plumbing, the plastering, the windows, the whole hog. So that's part of it. That's our construction side of things. But our combat engineer side of things, we're able to provide potable water for just about anywhere we go in the country or the world, including from the sea. We're able to build bridges. Probably the more fun side of it is blowing bridges up and anything else that gets in the way, playing with explosives. There's a whole raft of roles that we have within that. So that's engineering, or construction engineering, or destruction engineering on both the battlefield and on a greenfield site anywhere in the world.
That's amazing. And tell us more specifically about your role. So what is it that you do?
So currently I look after recruiting for the Royal Engineers. We're an organisation of about 7,500, and within that 7,500 We have 19 different trades, as well as our officers who oversee the workforce in various different guises. So at the moment I am looking after getting young people into the Royal Engineers. So if anyone fancies a career in engineering within the military, particularly construction engineering, generally they'll be pointed our direction, and it's up to us to sell our wares and help people along their journey and to achieve their goals or dreams even, to help them along their way.
So you are the man to know.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
So what would be your dream applicant to walk through your doors? You know, what would you love them to possess or to, you know, to be driven by, or who would you be looking for?
Enthusiasm. That's it. You don't have to be the fittest, you don't have to be a superstar, you don't have to be an Olympic athlete, you don't have to be the world's strongest man or woman. You just have to have a little bit of enthusiasm and the will to get to your end goals, to achieve, enjoy a little bit of a challenge, and that's it. We're absolutely, it's very much about the young people, and if they want to do it, there's loads of people around me and around them that can just make it happen. They'll mentor them, they'll lead them, they'll manage them, and help them along their way.
And talking about apprenticeships with the Royal Engineers, what could an apprentice expect to experience? Because obviously there's potentially a lot of travel, you know, it's a very full-on job. So what elements would they experience in an apprenticeship?
Just about any of what I've already mentioned.
Really?
You know,
So,
you can find yourself, after you've done your training, you can find yourself not doing anything that you've been taught for the last 9 months or so, by virtue of the fact that where you go in the world and what role you're doing. If you're doing the combat side of things, you're unlikely to pick up your trowel or your level or your toolbox, but you will be employed in the combat engineering side of things. So you may be blowing things up, you may be building bridges. There are other young boys and young girls who disappear off to the Falklands for 6 months, and literally that's all they're doing. They're plastering, they're laying concrete, they're laying blocks, they're concreting, they're supporting that effort. It really does depend on where you go and where you are in the world as to what sort of engineering we do.
That's brilliant. And in terms of training, you also have obviously the WorldSkills UK, which, you know, trains you to cope under pressure and you know, do things and follow directions and instructions. So I think we were chatting earlier and you said that actually there's been a successful road so far in terms of WorldSkills UK in your department, in your sector. Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Initially, my first trip here was 3 years ago, and I thought we should be part of this rather than just here selling our military wares, so to say. So I went back to the school, to the Royal School of Military Engineering, and said, you know, we must get some of our young soldiers into this competition. Last year, for the first time, we managed to get 10 of our soldiers competing. We were within a whisker of getting a couple of soldiers into the finals, but it didn't happen. We went again this year, and we've been fortunate enough to get 3 of our young soldiers, and literally another one missed out by the skin of his teeth to get here. So we're absolutely proving that our boys and girls can compete with the best tradesmen and women around the country, and it's been a fantastic journey, and they've loved every minute of it.
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant, it really is. So talking of WorldSkills UK, we actually have Peter talking to a former competitor to find out what it's all about and what it's like and how it's helped their career. So Peter, over to you.
We are now here auto finishing. You know where your car needs a new lick of paint? This is where it happens. And we're actually gonna catch up with one of the past competitors, Rebecca, who is now a judge. Rebecca, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks.
So please tell me, what is it like being a competitor?
Being a competitor is stressful. See, on the first morning, nothing's going right, you don't know where everything is, you're just panicking. But now being a judge, you can see, you know what they're going through. And then you're trying to help them, show them where everything is, and just trying to guide them through the task as much as you can.
You just mentioned there, you're a judge, so you went from competing to being a judge. And what was that change like for you?
It's hard because you want to go in and say, no, you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right, but you can't. You know, it's for the competitor to make the odd wee mistake here and there, but there's nothing I can do to help them.
Yeah, I can get it. So if someone was out there wanting to be a competitor, what would you say to them as a judge?
Go for it, just do your best. Everybody's in the same position. So.
I believe that. You know, there's a couple of cars here on show. Do you mind if we go and see a couple? Yeah, wow. So here we have the BMW, I don't know my cars, so I'm just going to say a random number, 428. So, should we hop in? Why, yes. And that's how I hop in cars, sorry. So tell me, a car like this, how long would it take to paint this?
Oh, you'd be talking weeks to paint something like this here. See, by the time you get it all stripped down and get it all refinished right, you're talking weeks.
Wow, that's a lot of weeks of hard work. So I guess I better get to it. I'll see you later, guys, at the studio, Gemma. See ya.
I'm loving all the stuff that he gets up to. I really am. I can't wait to see what he's got in store for us tomorrow. So as we come to a close, I would love it if you could both just leave our viewers with some words of advice, really, of what to do if they're sort of at a crossroads. They don't know what direction to go in or where to go first. Any advice that you could give them?
I think give it a go. I think WorldSkills Live is a great thing to come and see and explore. The event here today, it's really hands-on. You can go and explore hundreds of different careers and really get stuck into it. There's a number of online resources that you can access as well, including Youth Employment UK's National Careers Service. If you're really, really stuck, you can talk to National Careers Service and trained careers advisors to just guide you through that next step. If you are starting to experience and look at careers, go and try and find people that do those careers and find out what it's really like to work there, and try and get as hands-on as possible with what that job's like, and see if you can see yourself fitting in.
Great advice. Glenn?
My advice would be just go for it. There's absolutely nothing stopping you, and you just don't know where it may take you. There's absolutely nothing to stop anyone doing anything that they want to, be it locally in and around the local where they grew up, the local schools, towns, villages, whatever the case may be, or if you fancy a little going a little further afield, then with a bit more adventure, perhaps think of the armed services. The Army are one of the largest suppliers of apprenticeships in the country. I think only outdone by the NHS at the moment. There's a job for absolutely everyone, and if you don't give it a go, you'll never know whether you like it or not.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you both so much for joining me in the studio.
Pleasure.
Really appreciate your insights, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And to you at home, first of all, don't forget to keep up with the conversation. You can carry on your social media using our hashtag WSUK Live. You can carry on throughout the day and ask your questions and give your thoughts on what you've seen today so far. And tomorrow we will be back at 11:30 a.m. and again at 2:30 p.m. bringing you all the action here at WorldSkills UK Live. So do not miss it, and thank you very much for watching.